Okay, the last problem we did was 37. So let's look at 40. So we have 3 times -4 plus -5 times -2 divided by 3 cubed minus 2 plus a -6. So let's go ahead and multiply this out, the exponent. So that's the first thing you want to do. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So we have 8 minus 2 plus a -6. And 8 minus 2 is 6. So we get 6 plus a -6. Well, when you add a number and its additive inverse, you get 0. So the final result here is you get 3 times -4 is -12. -5 times -2, because it's even, we get +10 divided by 0, which is the same as -2 divided by 0. And that is as far as we can go, because any number divided by 0 is undefined. Okay. So it does not, somebody say it does not exist, it's undefined. In the book it says not a real number. That's true, but it's not imaginary either. It's just, it's too big. It's big. Okay, 43 says, which one of these expressions is undefined? So the first one is 8 divided by 0. Well, for the same reasons, this is undefined. The second one is 9 divided by 6 minus 6, which is the same as 9 divided by 0, so it's also undefined. The third one is 4 minus 4 over 5 minus 5. This is 0 divided by 0. So that's not a number divided by 0. So it's not undefined. It's called, we call well, I guess it isn't defined. It's undefined, but it's also, in other math, we call it indeterminate. Okay, but I guess it isn't defined. And the last one is 0 divided by -1. Okay, any number, 0 divided by any number is 0. So this is defined. So it's only when you divide some number by 0 or you divide 0 by 0, it's undefined. If you divide 0 by a number, then it's 0. Okay, it says identify the properties. So we have 46. 8 times 4 equals 4 times 8. So let's go look in the book, see if we can figure out which one it is. I never remembered the names, so again, I'm not going to ask you to memorize. Of course, you know that's true, but you don't know what the heck it's called. Okay, so if we look at it, we look at first one. It says that they're P2, add 2 numbers together, real numbers together, you get a real number. We multiply 2 real numbers together, you get a real number. The second one, commutative property, says A plus B equals B plus A, which is the additive commutative property, and you can say A times B is equal to B times A. So this is the, we would call it the commutative property of multiplication. Commutative, not commutative, commutative. Okay, next one, 49. 9 times 1 is equal to 9. Okay, so what we have? Do we have something that involves something times 1? Well, yes, identity property. There is a real number 1 such that A times 1 is equal to A, or 1 times A is equal to A. So this is the identity property of multiplication. 52. 52 says that 3 times 5 times 4 is equal to 4 times 3 times 5. Okay, let's look on page 236. So anything here where you multiply stuff together and it doesn't matter how they're grouped. And if we go down, we see that the first two don't have anything to do with grouping, but the third one does. We have the multiplication. AB times C is equal to A times BC. So that is the associative property of multiplication. Multiplication. 55. So we have 2 times 4 plus 3 is equal to 2 times 4 plus 2 times 3. This is the one I always remember because it's something that use a lot and it doesn't get confused with any other one. So basically remember you distribute 2 to each one of these terms. So this is called the distributive property. I think it's only for multiplication. I don't know if it's mathematical. Yeah, it's called the distributive property of multiplication with respect to addition. Distributive property of multiplication. I'll just say it's that. And let's see, 58. Says that 19 plus 12 is a real number. So let's go to page 236. Well, the only one that has anything to do, well, I would say that inverse properties has the word real number, so does identity properties. But if you look at the first one, closure properties, it says A plus B. It says for real numbers A, B, and C, the following properties hold true. So in this case, it's called the closure property. I guess it would be the closure property of addition. There's the one of multiplication too. Okay, numbers 61 through 68 are designed to explore the properties of real numbers in further detail. Okay, so what it says, evaluate 6 minus 8 and 8 minus 6. Well, 6 minus 8 is negative 2, and 8 minus 6 is 2. These are additive inverses of each other. So if you switch the order of operation, you get the same magnitude, but the sign changes. By the results of Part A, we may conclude that that subtraction is not a, okay, what kind of property is it not? I guess I see what they're saying, but I don't know what the answer is commutative property. And there it says if you change the order, I don't know, don't like that really. Commutative property says A plus B equals B plus A. So they're saying that because I'm switching these, that it's not true. But A in the first part is not the same as A in the second part, so I don't necessarily agree with that. I just skip over these then. Yeah, let's not worry about that one. It's just getting more confusing than anything else. Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to, okay, let's go to 69. This is how parentheses affect the answer when you're raising something to a power. So we're actually going to do 69 through 76 just to show how the whole thing works. So if you look at 69, it's negative 3 to the 4th. Now because I don't have the negative sign in parentheses like this, because that's not what I have negative 3 to the 4th. So you actually you're actually doing this part first. So 3 to the 4th power is the same as 9 squared, which is 81. So you get 81 from the term in parentheses, and then you have a negative sign. So that's 69. 70 is negative times 3 to the 4th, which is actually the same as the previous one. I put the parentheses here. So this is actually still negative 81. Okay, 71, negative 3 to the 4th. So what we have up here is negative 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is negative 81. Here we have, this is the same as negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And because we have an even number of negative signs, it's going to be positive, and then we multiply the 3's together, so we get positive 81 in this case. Okay, 72 is negative 3 to the 4th. Well, we just had that up here. Negative 3 to the 4th is 81, so we have negative 81. So we're basically doing the negation of this expression. Okay, 73 is negative times negative 3. Well, actually I was wrong on that last one because I wrote it wrong. Sorry. If I wrote it right, I would have got it right. So what you have is negative 3 to the 4th. Okay, so negative, what we had up here was negative 3 to the 4th. So to actually multiply negative 3, we'd have to have another parenthesis. So this is negative 3 to the 4th, and that is equal to, so the term in the parentheses we already did before was negative 81. So negative times a negative is a positive. It's positive 81. Okay, 73 is negative 3, the whole thing to the 4th power, which is what we have right here. So we have this part, negative 3 quantity to the 4th, which is negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 81. So we have the negative sign times positive 81. So we get negative 81 for that. Now 74 is negative 3 to the 4th power. Well, we have to do what's in terms inside the bracket here first. And the negative of a negative is a positive, so this becomes positive 3 to the 4th. Now once we get this done, then we can do the calculation. Because that's positive, it's just positive 81. 75 is negative there. So all this is a negation of what we just did up here. So you do this in the brackets first. So you have a negative of a negative, which is a positive. You raise that to the 4th power. Positive to the 4th power is positive. So what we get is negative this thing. So we get negative 81. And 76 is negative of a negative 3. Now the 4th is actually they got that different than that. They got, you've got yeah, the one they didn't show. I'll do that next, even though it's not part of the assignment. But if you, I'll keep putting parentheses in the wrong place. Okay, so you start at the inside. Now this negative is not, it's not negative 3 to the 4th. So this is not equal to, let me just show you what you might confuse it with, which should be negative 3 to the 4th. Okay, because here I'm multiplying negative 3 by itself 4 times. Here I'm taking the negative of 3 to the 4th. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have negative times a negative, and then we do this, which is going to be negative 81, because we take 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81, and then we have a negative sign in front of it. So this negative sign's from here, this one's from here, this one's from there. Okay, now we have a negative times a negative, which is a positive, so we get positive 81 here, and now we make it negative again, so we get negative 81. Okay, whereas this one up here that I had earlier was negative 3 to the 4th. I think that was it, yeah. So here you're taking negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, which is, this here becomes positive 81. So that is then just becomes negative of a negative 81, and then negative times a negative is a positive, so you get positive 81. So it's very, very dependent upon where you put the negatives.